Maureen Callahan brings all of her mean girl energy to this project, where the storied Kennedy men are good-for-nothing dumb sex fiends, whose toxic entitlement and recklessness ruined the lives of virgins, girlfriends, and wives through abandonment, alienation, accident, and murder. However, except for the two young women, Jo Kopechne, who could have been saved had Ted Kennedy called the police and/or help instead of his party buddies, and Pamela Kelley Burkley, whose medical condition due to an accident caused by Joseph Kennedy needed lifelong proper financial support from him, which she didn't get, or Martha Moxley, whose murder Kennedy cousin Michael Skakel was convicted for, a decision later vacated on technical grounds, or Rosemary Kennedy, who was incapacitated by a risky and controversial medical procedure, lobotomy, authorized by her own father. I did not see nor read of any female victims in this book, certainly not the ones that made it to the book's cover to sell the book.
No one to talk with, all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you, for you, for you, for you. I know for certain the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm thinking of. Hey, misbehaving, saving my love for you.
Everyone in this book is an opportunist, which shouldn't surprise anyone who has access to power, privilege, glamour, and money. Maureen Callahan seems to have more of a problem with the fact that girls bedded the Kennedy men and wives stayed married to these rich playboys than the flavors of the month and the wives themselves. The wives, girlfriends, and virgins had no problem being around these men. She quotes them in feminist undertones and talks about the repressive times they lived in to give gravitas to a book. None of these women had any aspirations to be anything other than being surrounded by power, privilege, fame, glamour, and money, and having a good time with all of it. Are the wives and girlfriends of today's politicians any different? Callahan strategically takes away the inherent female power to choose by writing them as docile, gullible, and passive women. She infantilizes the various political wives such as Rose, Joan, Ethel, Kathleen, Mary Richardson, Maria Shriver, and Caroline Bessette. She literally calls Jackie Kennedy a prostitute for choosing to marry one of the richest men in the world. And Marilyn Monroe's preference for well-established top guys from various fields, whether sports, literature, or politics, is set aside for a victim persona. I don't want to make light of any virgin's first time in the sack, but it is said that Washington is hardly the place for faithful married men, and a president who dips in the White House pool with aides and babes should have been a red flag for any intern. It wasn't a red flag for Mimi Beardsley Alford and Diana DeWay. Callahan takes away both Beardsley Alford's and DeWay's agency to say no, or to think for themselves, in her rush to paint JFK and his cronies as exploitative, which they were. These passages are shocking to read, not because of the sex, everyone's a consenting adult, so what, but that it occurred in the White House. However, the spite with which Callahan writes about JFK and RFK assassinations, you'd think they deserve to be shot.
Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late, no place to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving all my love for you.
There are also racist overtones when she mentions Aristotle Onassis, the only man in person to be called a vulgarian and a monster in this book. His crime? Living large as a billionaire, having a sexual appetite and peculiar kinks. Or is it marrying a Kennedy, or being an outsider as a Greek tycoon? My assumption is his biggest crime in Callahan's eyes was being an outsider who thought he could buy his way into polite society by marrying a Kennedy. That same racist trope that Daily Mail, which Callahan is a columnist for, successfully used against Muhammad al-Fayed when his son Dodi started courting Princess Diana and died with her one Paris night. This book is a good summer beach read, specifically because it focuses on the sexual piccadillys, the bonk-fests of the rich and famous political figures, and their missteps, cruel indifference, and downright criminal negligence with respect to some women. It's a soap opera, a non-fictional telenovela. But should the reader feel sorry for any woman other than Kopechne and Kelley? I don't think so. The only thing that really stands out as memorable in this 400-page tome is that the liberal media, such as the New York Times, dilutes the impact of negative facts regarding the Kennedys by subjective or biased reporting. With the advent of social media and podcasts, legacy media in the US, which is heavily aligned with Democrats and liberals' so-called progressive ideals, is a dying breed, and Callahan knows it. But she's part of the conservative media belt and no better in her bias. Callahan's book was in the top 10 of bestseller lists all through the summer and autumn of 2024. And that's because the Kennedy men of an era long gone and the women in their lives still make so much news and money for the authors and the publishing houses even today. To Callahans and publishers of the world, they are a gift that keeps on giving.